off the bat. Here we go. So here we are at VIR, and this is the one I love, and I keep saying that, but anyway, Haycock Classic Gold Cup, and it's the big four, big sedans, and the sports cars roaring out as we take on Group 6 and 12A. And this should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've got some great cars and drivers in this. I didn't see Phil Lasco go out. He had some mechanicals yesterday, but Phil Lasco in the 2013 Ford Mustang. In second is Scott Borchetta in the 72 Big Block Corvette. John Cloud in third in the Boss 302. Brian Dolan in a 67 Mustang. Jeff Lindstrom in a 1998 Ford Mustang Coupe. Gary Moore, this is my favorite car in this class, in a 68 Mercury Cougar. Peter Dolan in a Mustang GT 350. Hugh Butcher in a Ford Mustang GT, but 2012. Ray Zisa in a 90 Chevrolet Corvette. Charlie Dolan in a 67 Shelby Mustang. Keith Dunbar in a 62 Jaguar E-Type. Bill Feaster in a Chevy Camaro from 67. Robert Corzin in a 66 Mustang. Ed Bull, 2010 Ford Mustang FR500C. Steve Piantieri, 1965 Ford Mustang Fastback. Beautiful car. James Heck in a newly refurbished, refinished, restored 1964 Chevrolet Corvette that is a stunner. And then Nicholas Carangellen in a 911, Porsche 911 from 69. Rick Ortman, our last year's Group 12 winner, 1988 Corvette. Steve Coleman in a 66 Shelby. Patrick Sessions in a 66 Shelby GT350. Mark Hannafin in a Chevrolet Camaro. Jade Buford in a Corvette. And Randy Williams, who had a mechanical yesterday, in a Jaguar E-Type. Expect Randy Williams, if he's in the group, to move his way up as they come down and lights out, Jonathan.
There's about 6 volumes of books you could write about the cars out there in this particular field. It really is a true history of muscle cars and big bore engines from the United States. We've got the odd Jaguar and the odd Porsche in there, but really this is the majority of American muscle cars from the early 70s and late 60s, and Scott Borchetta will lead them away. Well, you just can't commentate over that. You've got to let it roar. Scott Borchetta then dives into the lead in the Corvette.
Just got word from Race Control on that beautiful Boss 302. Number 23 is Wally Dallenbach Jr., Trans Am and NASCAR driver in that blue Mustang, currently in second place. Now, Scott is an AP production, or A production, in a big bore 427 Corvette. And then these old Mustangs and Cougars are in B production. So they're not even racing against each other, but of course they will. If they're on track, they're racing against each other. And then we've got two groups, Group 12 and Group 6. The more modern-looking cars are in Group 12, and the more vintage-looking cars are in Group 6. That's the best delineation.
So Scott Borchetta pulling away at the front. John Cloud in second place. Brian Dolan now in third. And Jeff Lindstrom got a good start. He's in fourth. Gary Moore in fifth. Back up the hill they come then, and I see that the mist has completely gone now. And the man from Nashville, Tennessee, who will also be racing in Trans Am TA2 later in the day.
Yeah, in the very next race, actually.
But it's the very next race,
I don't know how he's going to get out of the car and back into his TA2 car.
That's not an easy thing. He loves it. He absolutely, do you know what? I mean, he's a very successful businessman in his own right, but it's just a joy. He is the epitome, I think, of what this is all about, which is, you know, actually having some fun. He races lots of different cars. He owns lots of different... His collection is sublime. He showed it me during the lockdown, and it was an absolute amazing collection. And he just absolutely adores his racing, Scott.
Yeah, and he has gotten really good really fast. He had done some racing in his past, some oval, some Legends kind of stuff, but this is kind of his first foray into road racing. And I don't think I've ever seen somebody get so good so fast. He takes it very seriously, as we saw in the E-Racing Championship.
Well, during the E-Championship, he went through, I think, about 3 computers. In practice, he did about 500 laps of each track.
So that's Wally Dallenbach Jr. right there, Trans Am champion. legend, NASCAR legend, and now NASCAR announcer in that beautiful 23 Boss 302 of John Cloud. John Cloud's going to be in the TA2 race, so I think he's letting Wally have a go at this. And there's my car right there, Gary Moore.
I see your point
Look
there. That is a beauty. Number 21, Gary Moore in the Mercury Cougar.
This
Absolutely
is his
gorgeous.
first time at VIR, and he was saying he usually races a Shelby GT350 with us. Oh, he slides that thing out.
Oh, and how?
But that's pretty normal for Gary, sliding the car out and driving it sideways. But the car's 2 inches longer, he said, than the Shelby, but he says just as fun. That should be Sam LeCompte there in the number 85,
that's Mark
I think. But where is
Hannafin
it?
going off.
Mark Hannafin, okay. I know Sam LeCompte in that car. That's a pretty car, though.
Yeah, that was the Chevrolet Camaro Z28 going off, the yellow and black that we saw there, the 85. But it's Borchetta pulling away at the front, and his last lap, a 206.7. So he's putting the rubber down on that Corvette for sure, because compared to the competition, he's some 3 seconds up the road and now has a 3-second lead over this great battle for the midfield as they come through 12.
So
whoa, sideways again for the Mustang, the more modern Mustang. Doesn't mean it doesn't slide.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't mean it doesn't have any power either.
Yeah, exactly. So that was Hugh Butcher in that Mustang following Jeff Lindstrom coming through there at Oak Tree. And now we're watching Scott Borchetta come down this roller coaster section. And you can see from that shot why they call it the roller coaster down here into Hogpen. And this is a very difficult turn to get correct. It's a tough apex downhill off camber, and it's a long turn. As we watch Gary Moore really trying to keep, I think that's Brian Dolan behind him. It's either Brian or Peter Dolan.
And Hugh Butcher in the white Ford Mustang GT. Coming across the line now and under pressure. Big pressure too.
So that's Ray Zisa right there in that Corvette. Ray's a really good racer. He races with us quite a few times, had a great race with us at Lime Rock last year. And now Butcher's got to worry about the 28A right there of Brian Dolan coming up beside him. Look at that. You can really
and the old
see
Mustang
lines.
still got it on the new Mustang. Nicely done.
That was neat to see the silhouettes together like that.
Yeah, it was really cool, huh? I don't suppose the power's that much different. It's the one thing Mustang didn't do was change the power. They might have changed the body shape, a bit more modern, but there was one thing that everybody wanted in America was to keep the muscle.
Gary Moore still being hounded right there by that Shelby GT350. Going up the S's.
So, confirmation, Borchetta, Cloud, and Moore. That's your top three, but it's quite spread out now, as 8 seconds now between first place and third place. Dolan, Lindstrom, and this good battle here in the midfield. Yeah, we saw a great race from these guys yesterday as well.
Yeah, Group 6 is usually the crowd favorite, and you can see why.
Yeah.
They're so loud. They're ground pounders. You can feel these cars racing.
Yeah, as soon as they fire up in the paddock, you know that some excitement is coming. Well, I'm glad to say the mist and fog has cleared away, and for the most part anyway. It's still a little bit dusky over there, but the sun is trying to climb through and trying to get on to the Virginia circuit.
Well, Jonathan, I have to step out, unfortunately. I've got to go do the grid walk for the upcoming TA2 TA race.
Fair enough. Well, we look forward to that because that's always a bit of fun. So Ben's going to head down to the pre-grid and hopefully talk to some drivers and tell us about what we've got in store, because we've got a cracking Trans Am race. If you're tuning in for SVRA, that's great. But stay with us for Trans Am because we've got all 5 categories in action, and the modern versions of these historic Big 4 cars will be in action. And I'm looking forward to that. Gary Moore still going well in the Cougar. But under pressure now from the number 76. And they are nose to tail, no question about it. But for now, he's holding him off. He's doing a good job. And look at this, a 5-way battle now with some very different cars from very different generations and eras. But racing hard here in SVRA. The car's gone off. That's the 72. That's the Porsche of Nicholas Caragellen in the Porsche 911. And luckily he saved it. That's a lovely looking car too. A classic 911 too. Borchetta continues to pile on the laps and pile on the pressure. But the racing as we come through 12 and the old oak tree. And a 5-way battle to the closing part of this race, but it's going to be a Scott Borchetta exhibition by the looks of things. Now, SVRA fans, if you're enjoying your historic racing, continue to do so. But we're going to switch over to Trans Am because our Trans Am fans are tuning in on the Trans Am app and on our Trans Am social media to get ready for our big race of the day.